Dirty little secret. I actually opened them a couple days ago. But anyway, we find a couple of players, and then we talk about them. The first one, Buccaneers at the Saints, which, again, on paper looked like it was going to be way more exciting at the start of the year than it kind of does right now. But who knows? Maybe something's going to be different. But anyway, we're going to talk about Uncle Lenny, Leonard Fournette. I know you can't really see him because he looks really tiny on your screen here, but trust me, that's Leonard Fournette on the picture of this card. Dude has been lights out recently. There he is, right there behind us in the little monitor, for those of you who are watching the streaming show. He's been great lately. Has he reached the point where you feel like he's a weekly must-start?
Yeah, I think he's must-start Lenny now. And he would appreciate that nickname because he just throws Lenny on anything, and
right.
It's a nickname now. He's been awesome as of late. Over 16 fantasy points in each of the last 4 games, as high as 30 in those games. And even in a game last week where we had Ronald Jones sightings and Keyshawn Vaughn sightings because it was out of hand, he still had 17 touches, gave us 17 fantasy points. He is a must-start option, and I've come around to it. No offense to any of the other high-powered offenses. The Bucs are the best offense in football. They just make it look easier than everyone else, in my opinion.
They are unfair when they are clicking the way they are. I mean, you've got Brady, who is still very much on top of his game at 44 years old. He's got, when everybody's healthy. By the way, Antonio Brown was on crutches at practice on Wednesday, so that doesn't really bode well for him playing this week against New Orleans. But look, when everybody's healthy, they've got Mike Evans and Chris Godwin and Antonio Brown.
Maybe the best wide receiver trio in football.
Right. They've got Rob Gronkowski, who looks like he's back to being the guy we saw, at least closer to the guy we saw in New England for a lot of those years. And now they've got Leonard Fournette in the backfield, who was just sort of dominating there. And
they got depth. Like, they lose Gronk, and it's like, okay, here's everyone's fantasy darling, O.J. Howard. Like, we'll just start giving him the ball. Like,
absolutely. So, everything is – you're probably right. They are – the best. They are probably the deepest offense in the NFL right now, and they're just rolling along. The only thing that could stop them is, again, that secondary kind of having some issues, but they can score with anybody in this league right now. All right. Speaking of Tom Brady, his old team, the Patriots, they're taking on the Chargers. They'll be right next door neighbors there. They get a little rowdy sometimes and loud. I want to go borrow some sugar. It doesn't really work out. It's awkward. But anyway, Keenan Allen, who is still a wide receiver for your Los Angeles Chargers. He will be on the field. But this year has not been what we wanted it to be from Keenan Allen. And we talked about Robert Woods before and how he's sort of let us down. Keenan Allen, I think you could say kind of the same thing. Should we still value him as a wide receiver 1?
I don't think so. I think it's very borderline, but I would say this. I think Mike Williams is more of a wide receiver 1 than Keenan Allen. I think Keenan Allen is more of a wide receiver 2 right now moving forward. The targets and the volume that he still sees, 24% target share, 9.7 targets per game, means that you still start him each week, but he's just not doing what he was doing last year with them. Like, he has no games with 20 fantasy points. In the last 5 weeks, he has won over 15. They use the tight ends in the red zone. They take the deep shots with Mike Williams. So he's kind of just a possession wide receiver 2 right now, I would say.
I sort of wonder if this is part of the evolution of Justin Herbert, right? Like, last year, Herbert was literally thrown into the deep end to become the starter. And look, the smart guy says, hey, throw it to number 13. He catches everything. He's a big play guy. Let's get him involved. Now, with a little more comfort, obviously you've got a new offensive coordinator there as well, but you have a quarterback who's growing and now starting to involve other players. We've seen Mike Williams have such a really good start to the year. We've seen Jared Cook at times really get involved. We've had a mostly healthy season from Austin Eckler. And so I don't think it's that Keenan Allen is a worse player this year than he was last year. Just that they don't necessarily need him to do everything that he did
Agreed.
last year.
And, I was huge on Mike Williams coming into the year. Even I didn't expect Mike Williams to be doing what he's doing. But I think we do have to admit, Mike Williams is a much better talent than he's ever gotten credit for. He is a legit NFL very good wide receiver. And then on the short passes where Keenan has always thrived, Austin Eckler is arguably the best at that in the game. So it's just... It is an elevation for Justin Herbert, but it's just, there's a lot of other pieces around Keenan Allen that necessarily were